I came across this title partly because it was based off of a short story from Neil Gaiman, and so I anticipated some creativity, or some yarn which was relatable to my own floppy adolescence, frankly. I noted the film was fairly poorly received, and so I was concerned the film would annoy me ferociously, and I intended to watch it in the background as I was writing up a spiels to be recorded later, uploaded to this channel later, and I'm glad I did, because the script is effectively trash, although it has a very assertive and confident visual style, which I demonstrated via my screen caps to some extent. I lazily went back and took these shots. There's only a handful of them here as a result, mainly from the start of the film. I do like the idea of distilling what was so compelling about the punk moment for younger people in the UK at that time. Thank goodness this is a period piece and not set in the contemporary as older people attempting to mimic the behaviour of younger people, yikes, but attempting to represent creatively an older generation of former young. There are apparently, I suppose inevitably, less obvious pitfalls there when portraying an established youth cultural epoch. I remember I felt as though Attack the Block was too much an attempt to market British lad housing estate culture overseas in a goofy genre context. I might have actually liked this movie more than that one. I found more to admire in this. I can't recommend it too highly because I can imagine most people finding it insufferable. Although I am genuinely impressed with the production, kudos to the lads who put all of this together. I suppose the reason I want to bring up the film here is sometimes I feel as though otherwise predictable or safe yet refined genre films have been poorly received in the 2010s on, sometimes in some circles. Say last year's 65, 2017's Dark Tower adaptation. I understand why that was considered a poor adaptation of the King texts, although just like as its sole, as a as a work in a vacuum. I think it has some merit as a genre, 90-minute genre bash. Several horror films, some acclaimed, some not so, or Predators and The Predator. Prey was obviously more acclaimed and deservedly so, to be fair. Godzilla 2014 and Godzilla vs. Kong can be considered examples of this, though both were fairly well received, to my knowledge. Anyway. Smaller Lovecraft adaptations like the Deep Ones and the Castle Freak remake, we discussed those on this channel during the 2022 Very H.P. Lovecraft Christmas. Think about Neil Marshall's horror genre take on the superhero genre of 2019's unfairly maligned Hellboy picture. Not as good as Del Toro, but what is in that genre, let's be totally honest here. Even consider Star Wars Episode 7 or Rogue One, very simple, very polished, beautiful productions, yet people were highly unhappy with them. A lot of genre films of the 2000s had bad production values. Think Michael Bay, Roland Emmerich, or any number of garbage horror at that time. As a very amateur filmmaker, I found myself genuinely impressed with some more recent basic genre efforts. The filmmaking itself, the photographic component, is a lot more refined than it has been in the digital era of the 21st century thus far. Think the Bond film Spectre, even discussed on this channel prior, 2012's Dread, which was quite acclaimed, or hell, even the initial 2012 Avengers film, not the next one so much, and certainly nothing after that one where MCU material is concerned, until the new Deadpool flick, I might claim, as we might know. I love this era of production values, slick direction, and vivid cinematography, catering to the vast library of film history being more available and aesthetically preserved via Blu-rays than ever before. Classic world cinema finds itself on streaming services now, and younger directors honing themselves on cheaper genre films develop great photographic personalities for their simplistic, otherwise films. And How to Talk to Girls at Parties is one of these, despite being the kind of script which, if you read it, you'd probably want to throw it in the bin, if you had any sense, that is. But John Cameron Mitchell and cinematographer Frank DeMarco have done well here. The writing from Philippa Goslet and Cameron Mitchell, again, is less admirable. Cameron Mitchell has not directed anything else of interest. DeMarco appears to have shot all of Cameron Mitchell's films, but also photographed Robert Redford's film All Is Lost from 2013, which was a very commendable job where his role is concerned. The rest of the film was thoroughly decent too, to be fair. I remember seeing it as a rental maybe a year or a year and a half after it was released. He also shot Larry Fessenden Habit way back in 1995 now. I didn't know this. Fascinating connection there. Some of Fessenden's horror work at that time is quite good. We may discuss it here on the AOD one day. Anyway, I've spoken/written far too much about a meager film and an upload with insufficient screen caps, so you best be finding something better to do with your time today, which, compared to this, it will not be difficult to find something more valuable to do with your decision making today.